Today we're going to check out the best soaker in ARK by a tier list, and this video will be divided into two chapters. So chapter 1 is going to be the full testing of all these creatures and grading them in a point system, which will be displayed up here on what the criteria is and also how I'm going to go about it. And the second chapter is then going to be the tier list, which will take all this information to grade them accordingly. So this is not going to be just my thought and putting the creature where I think it is right. This is going to be calculated and seeing how much it survived, how much bullets it soaked, all that good stuff, and it's going to be put up in the tier list. So this will help you when you go and think about a soaker for raiding or for PvP. So with that, let's get right into this one. Now, this is going to start from the smallest creature to the largest creature, and not in any order where it'll be better than the other creature, because that will be pushed to the end of the videos. So without any further ado, let's get right into this testing. So first up, we have the Doed. Let's see if the rider has a chance of surviving the turrets. But in the Doed case, it can roll, so we are going to use that feature, so we may go out of this area. That should not change its rating. The rider survives for a good amount of time and soaks a good amount of bullets, then I will consider it, otherwise it will get a 0. As you can see, as long as it's in the ball state, the rider is safe. I am not getting any damage, but once I get zapped, I cannot roll, and now I'm getting pelted with turrets. I have an Ascendant Black armor set, so that is why I'm surviving. So I would consider this, but you gotta keep in mind that the zap is gonna remove you from the roll-in, and that will be pelting a bullet. So if you don't have a good armor, you are gonna die. So I'll give this a 0.5 on the score. Survive against turrets. And now we're gonna check how good is it against turrets and accordingly grade it with points for how much damage reduction it does, and will be displayed on the screen for you. Here are the results for the heavy turrets. And here are the results for the tech turrets. So let's test out if the Doed can actually escape the turret range. But this is going to be testing the auto turret, and if it can escape it, giving it 1 point if it does. $5,000 health. There we go. We're getting out. Come on. I doubt we're gonna make it. No. And now for the final test, which is gonna be the Outlast. And the way this is gonna work, I'm gonna refill all the turrets, so it's at full bullet capacity, and it's gonna only tank the auto turrets, the Tesla and the Plant X. And that is pretty much it for the Doed. Now on to our next one, which is gonna be the oldest tank, that is the Carbonemus. Now let's see where he stands with all the Tesla coils, Plant X, as well as turrets pelting at it. So first up, let's check the rider defense. As you can see, the rider is taking damage. I have a good armor, so that's why I'm not taking that much, but there you go. Once the armor breaks, you're done. And now onto damage reduction, and I must say, even till date, the Carbonemus does a pretty decent job. First up, we have the auto turrets. Next up, we have the heavy turrets. And lastly, we have the tech turrets. And now let's see if it can actually get out of the turret range when it is down to 5,000 health. And we're out. Oh, we're stunned. Oh no. The bright Tesla is gonna kill your teams. At 5,000 health, it's really hard to escape. It's just that the bright Tesla combined with the plant X is gonna kill your team. At least at 5,000 health. We're gonna put signboards where the creature died so we know how much distance they made, so that way we can grade them. Now onto the final test for the carbon image, which is gonna be outlasting the turrets or perishing to them. Now on to our next creature, which is going to be the Pachyrhinosaurus. So first up, let's check the rider defense. So it does defend the rider at a certain angle. Once the flak armor broke, it still gave me somewhat of a protection, but when I tilted my head, it instantly killed me. So I would give it a 0.5. Next up, let's check the damage reduction. First, we have the auto turret. Next up, we have the heavy turret. And finally, we have the tech turret. And now let's get on with the next test, which is gonna be if it can escape the turret range before getting killed. Okay, time to run. Oh, it's not gonna make it. It's barely gonna escape. Now on to our final test for the Pachyrhinosaurus, which is gonna be the Outlast. So next up we have the trike. Let's just check if it can actually defend the rider. Unfortunately, it does not. That is sad. Now let's check the damage reduction against all the turrets. First up we have the auto turret. Now we have the heavy turret. And finally, we have the tech turrets. Now the third test, which we're going to check if we can escape the range of the turrets within the time frame where we'll have 5,000 health. But this will be interesting with the charge, and let's see if it can actually escape it. Let's go. Oh no, it does stun lock you. Oh. No, it's unlocked again. No. And now on to a final test, which will be draining of the bullets and how long can it survive. Now on to the reigning king, which is the Stegosaurus, one of the top tier soakers of ARK survival, ascended and evolved. So let's get him tested. So first up, we're gonna do the rider defense test, and I think it's gonna pass this because it does protect the rider, but we will see. So let's get this started. Now in this case, I'm not gonna use any flak armor because I do trust it with my life, but we'll see. And there you go. Full marks, protecting the rider. I have no armor and I'm taking no damage. That is crazy. And it's still the best go-to soaker in ARK Survival Evolved. Closely competed with the Diplodocus just for its health pool. Now on to the second test where we'll check how much damage reduction does it do. First up we have the auto turrets. Next up we have the heavy turrets. And finally we have the tech turrets. Now on to the final test, which is if the Stegosaur can actually escape the turret range. So let's get on with that. Oh, it's barely moving. I don't think it's going to even cross the mark of the trike and the packy. That stun lock by the Tesla coil is insane. Now on to the final test of how many bullets can it soak. Everything has been topped up to the max, so let's get that tested. Next up we have the Archelon, which is a new creature added to ARK Survival Ascended, and this may be a better soaker, but we'll see. We'll have to test it out. So without any further ado, let's get to the rider test. I keep forgetting how slow this guy is. The first up we're going to do the rider defense, and honestly I don't think it has any defenses for the rider, similarly to the Carbonemus, because you are so high up, and even if you turn the saddle, if you have a turret that is being faced above you, there is no escape even if you show the backside of the turtle. But for this video we'll just do that anyway to see if that helps. I think it did a little bit of defense for the player, but not that much that he would survive. Now on to the damage reduction. Now interestingly, the Plant X can push back the turtle. Which is stupid, but it does. Now on to the heavy turret. Now as for the tech turret, it does an insane amount of knockback and you'll see that, but onto the tech turret. Now onto the third test, which we're going to see if it can escape the turret range in time. And I think it possibly could with the knockback from the Plant X, but we'll have to see because the Archelon is really slow, so it may not be able to escape it. But let's check that out. Now I am placing him a little bit at the side. That's only because it gets knocked back, and I don't want to get stuck in that pillar trap because that is basically to do the test for the damage reduction where the turtle doesn't get knocked out of range. But let's get this tested. As you can see, it's already getting knocked back a distance, so this may work in our favor to escape the turret range in all honesty. Because basically you can just turn yourself around and then let the Plant X just do its thing. Okay, let's start moving. No, I don't think it's gonna make it. It's probably gonna be close towards the Stego and the Trike. There we go. Now onto the final test. Now, this is going to be the test where we obviously see how long it can outlast the turret barrage. Now I don't know why, but for some reason, no matter what you do, you cannot set the Archelon to passive. it will always say at attacking a target. It doesn't change. And I tried whistling, I tried setting it. I'm not sure why it does it. So I have encumbered it so it doesn't move that much. But if it doesn't move with the knockback, it's because it's overweight. So just wanted to put that out there. Now moving on to Karkinos. So first up, with the Karkinos, let's check the rider defense. This is gonna hurt. Oh, there we go. Once the armor is gone, you're dead. On to our second test, which will be testing out damage reduction. Now on to the heavy turrets. Now on to the tech turrets. And just look at that knockback, it's just flying the Karki. Now on to our third test, which is going to be if the Karkinos can escape the turret range in time. We're going to wait till it drops down to 5,000 health, and then we're going to do an escape. So let's get on with that. And let's go. Oh, that's interesting, because when we jumped, the stun lock came in and we couldn't move, like we were mid-air stuck and just falling straight down. But I do think that it would have crossed. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, and I would say the Karkinos can get out of the turret range, because if you escape at 6,000 health, it can make it out here, because this was the place where it died, is where the turret stops, exactly here. So yeah, I think I'll give it the full 5 points, just because it almost made it out, and if it had like a little bit more health, it could certainly escape the range. So Karkinos takes it for getting it to the platform. Now on to a final test of how long can it survive. On to our next creature, which is going to be the Reaper King, but honestly I didn't want to add him due to the fact of the huge debuff in a light pet or any light sources around it. But we are going to do without the light pet. However, on the tier list he will be ranked accordingly, taking into consideration about the light debuff, so keep that in mind. So on to our first test, which is going to be the rider defense. I think it's going to pass this, but we'll see. Oh yeah, it definitely passes it, because even if I put its head down, I'm still not taking any damage. And putting its head up is obviously going to protect me even more. But I don't seem to be taking any sort of damage, so I would say it passes the test in the rider's defense. Now on to the damage reduction numbers, so we're going to start with the auto turret first. Now on to the heavy turret. And finally the tech turret. Now on to the third test. Let's see if we can escape the turret range in time before it perishes at 5,000 HP. Let's make a move. Oh, I'm stunned. It can definitely escape. With 1,800 hit points to spare, it can definitely escape. Being the first creature to escape the turret range without dying. Man, that's crazy. But then again, you have to remember, if there's a light source near it, it's game over within seconds. So it doesn't technically become a soaker at that point, because even without the light pet debuff, it takes a ton of damage from the turret, especially the tech and the heavy turret. And now on to our final test, and we're gonna see how long can it last and how much bullets can it tank. Now onto the Rock Elemental, which is another OG bullet soaker, but we'll see how it fares in the ARK Survival Ascended. Does it have any kind of debuff? Can it be killed easily? Can it actually soak like the good old days? Let's check it out. So first up, we have the Rider defense, and I am going to be faced backwards, so that gives me the maximum defense for the Rider, because we have to use every capability we can for the creature, and same as the Doed with the rolling, the Rock Golem is best used with its back towards the turrets to save the Rider. But with that, let's get it checked out. And I don't see my health going down. I don't have GCM or anything on, so it does defend the Rider effectively without any bullets getting through its defense. That is pretty neat. So next up, we have the damage reductions, starting with the auto turrets. Next up, we have the heavy turrets. Next up, we have the tech turrets, which similar to the Karkinos does a ton of damage towards the Rock Elemental. So let's see. And now on to our third test to see if the Rock Golem can escape from the turret range. So let's get on with it. Let's start moving. Oh, this stunlock is freaking insane. Can it make it though? It still has 900 health. Oh, I doubt it. No, it's still in the turret range. I'll give him a 4 point. He's approximately towards the stairs. I'll give him a 4 point. Because he made it to the stairs, but it didn't get out of the turret range. The leg is where it was. And now on to a final test, which will be the outlast of how long this Rock Golem can survive. And on to our final creature, which is gonna be the God of Soaking, due to its high health pool, the Diplodocus. Because once breeded, this thing can even reach a health pool of around 200,000 hit points, which is insane. So first up, we're gonna do the Rider test, but in this case, for the Diplodocus, we're gonna do two variants. We're gonna do sitting in the saddle like the Rider has to, as well as the passenger seat, because if you align the Diplodocus this way and say you go ahead and some of your partners are sitting in any of these seats, they could technically be protected. You can hop out and take cover behind its large body, that way kind of being able to run back in this line or using a riot shield and firing rockets. Just a thought. So let's get that checked out. So here's the first test, which will be on the rider saddle. So let's get right into it. And yes, we're taking damage. Pop off. Oh no. And now we're gonna see if we can take a seat. Oh, I died before that. If you're in the passenger seat, you can survive for the rider. So I will give it a 0.5 score. And now onto the damage reduction test, starting with the auto turrets. So let's get on with that. Now onto the heavy turrets. Now onto the tech turrets. Now onto our third test. Let's see if it can escape the turret range and time. It is going to be difficult because the Diplodocus gets stunned a lot and is really slow, but let's see. Let's give it 5.5k health because it is a little bit squishy with no damage reduction, but let's get right into it. Let's run. Oh, he's not going to make it. Nope. He's dead. Damn. I'm telling you, you need to have the bright Tesla. It makes escaping nearly impossible if you're not able to jump with a creature. Now on to our final test to see how long can the Diplodocus last with that large health pool. Because it doesn't have any damage reduction against turrets, so this will be interesting. Let's get into it. That is quite interesting. Seeing that it took sub 3 minutes, I don't think the Diplodocus is gonna be S tier anymore. Simply because of the fact that the Tesla coils does a lot of extra damage, increasing even the turret damage on this creature. And seeing that it has next to no damage reduction against the turrets, I don't think it's gonna make it to the S tier, but we'll see as the points get calculated. And that is it for the testing part of things, so let's move on to the tier list, which you all have been waiting for. The tier list is gonna be the first for ARK Survival Ascended against the new turret meta, and this video took a long time to make, so I would appreciate if you'd subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And also if you smash the like button so it can help with the algorithm and make this whole effort worth it. But let's move on to the tier list. Now the way the creature will be updated is depending on all the criteria points it has gathered, with a grand total of 60 points. And as per the test for the tiers, this is how we are gonna rank them. So for the S tier, the creature has to be above 55 points. If it's not, that will not make it to the S tiers, making it the top soaker currently in ARK Survival Ascended for the month of October, because there are more creatures that are going to come, so this is not set in stone. For A tier, it will be anything from 55 to 45 points. For the B tier, it will be from 45 to 35 points. And for the C tier, it will be 35 to 30 points. However, for F tier, we are going to keep it from 30 to 0, because at this point, why even bother, as anything below 30 points will just barely survive a minute and will just soak around 700 to 600 bullets. However, the rankings are not set only as per points, because different factors like higher health pool or negative debuff may affect the creature to get a higher rank or even fall a rank. So let's begin. First up, we have the Rock Golem, and the Rock Golem does an amazing job against the turrets, but it does fail in the tech turret department because it takes a lot of damage. So for the Rock Elemental, we are gonna give it an A. However, it may not be the top A tier, so we'll see. Next up, we have the Stegosaurus. And the Stegosaurus goes an impressive 46 points. Again, going up in the A tier, but he will be ranked above the Rock Golem simply because he has an overall better damage reduction. Next up, we have the Trike, and the Trike gets only a point of 43, making him a B tier creature. I don't know why, but it does fail in the rider protection and the Packy does not, and that took 1 point hit from there. Plus, if you go and see its damages, it takes more damage from the Tesla. That's why it lost another point there, and it barely made it in the escape range due to its charge being stun locked by the Teslas. Next up, we have the Reaper King. Now, the Reaper King surprised me and it did terribly. So he is going to go into C tier with a point of only 32. However, he's going to be on the far end of the spectrum of the C tier. And if there's a light debuff, I would honestly put him in the F tier. Because against the turrets, especially the heavy turrets and the tech turrets, he takes 200 to 331 damage, 331 being in the tech turrets, which is insane. But the surprising part is against the Tesla coils, he takes the lowest amount of damage, which is 37, which is really impressive. So for now, I'll put him in the C tier, but we'll see as we go on. Next up, we have the Packy Rhinoceros, and surprisingly, he has done a great job even with the less health pool. He gets into the B tier with a point of 40.5 as he does protect the rider at a certain angle, making it kind of better than the Trike, but due to the time, because the Trike survives more than 2 minutes and the Packy is just about 1 minute 40 seconds, he will be placed just after the Trike. Next up, we have the Diplodocus, and this one was by far a big surprise for me. I thought at least he would be an A tier creature, because with the Tesla coils and the stun, he cannot escape. He takes more damage, and even with a high health pool, the stack of damage just drains that really quickly. With just surviving 2 minutes 57 seconds, he gets an overall point of 34.5, which puts him in the B tier. However, if you do breed this creature, he can get up to 200,000 health, so that is why I will put him at the highest spectrum of B tier, but this is for debate. Comment down below if you think he should go into the A tier, but for now I'm putting him in the B tier. Next up, we have the Archelon, a relatively new creature to Ark Survival Ascended, but surprisingly it doesn't do that well, getting an overall point of only 35, putting him just in the C tier. Now, one would say it would have been similar to the Carbonemis, but it does not perform similar to the Carbonemis as it takes a ton of Tesla damage. It gets a whopping 140 damage from the Tesla every second, and even against the turrets it takes way more damage compared to the Carbonemis, even with the shell facing towards the turrets. Next up, we have the Carbonemis, and this guy took me by a surprise. It has outperformed everybody, even in the damage reduction, the rider escape, the soaking, the amount of time it survived, the soaking of the bullets. Just for reference, if you haven't watched the whole test, the Carbonemis soaked the highest amount of bullets, which is 2016, and the crystals were around 235, which is crazy. And even its survival time was the highest among everyone, surviving for 3 minutes and 55 seconds, getting an overall point of 56, putting him straight up in the S tier list. That is insane that even till date the Carbonemis outperforms all the creatures which are currently available in Ark Survival Ascended. Next up, we have the Doed, and this guy underperformed like hell, but it had some decent abilities like the roll ability, which could protect the rider when he's in the ball state, giving him like a 0.5 in the rider defense. But overall, he just survived a minute, surviving for 1 minute 10 seconds and only draining 600 bullets, which were the lowest amount. And if you know, as per the criteria, the most points are into survival and the bullet soaking, because that's what we are testing. So unfortunately, the Doed makes it in the F tier, because why even bother taming if it cannot survive for long or tank more bullets? And lastly, we have the Karkinos, which does share a similar trait to the Rock Golem, taking almost the similar amount of damage from the auto turrets, the heavy turrets, and a higher damage from the tech turrets, but it slightly outperforms the Rock Golem with a 3-second difference in time, I don't know if that really matters. As per bullet soaking compared to the rock elemental and the Karkinos, they are neck and neck. The rock golem soaking 1941 and the Karkinos soaking about 1950. So putting him a little bit higher than the rock golem. But I leave this up to you, so comment down below, do you think that it is worth the trade-off, as they do take an insane amount of turret damage from the tech turrets. So if they do belong in A tier, or they should fall down to B tier. But also keep in mind that not every base has tech turrets, certainly not everyone that you come across on a server, majority being the auto turrets and heavy turrets, which they both do a really good job. But the only thing that has affected every creature on this list to change the rankings over time is the Tesla coils. I'm telling you, you need to get those Tesla coils, because against the Tesla coils, the triple damage that it gets is crazy, especially for the rock elementals, for the Karkinos, for the Reaper Kings. It takes damage like 331, 303 and 319 from the tech turrets, and even if you see the heavy turrets, it takes about 223 to 234 to 225, which is crazy. So if you don't have the Tesla coils, you are going to be at a disadvantage against people who do have them, because even escaping them is difficult. If you have seen the test, the amount of times we got stunned is crazy. So that is it for the tier list, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did find this video informational, don't forget to smash the like button. But these are the final rankings. The Carbonemus reigns supreme over everyone, and the rest follow as per rank. Now this video took me a long time to make, so I would really appreciate if you did hit the sub button for more content like this, and I am planning to make more content in the coming weeks and trying to double down on the content, as it took me a long time. These are a few of the images of the process that it was for me. It was almost 100 cuts plus for just making this video, and I'm also working on the Halloween update video, which is going to be about the new changes coming to ARK Survival Ascended, and I am honestly disappointed with it, and I couldn't make a video in time because I was stuck making the tier list video. But hopefully this helped you guys a lot to choose a soaker for your PvP battles and raiding. And if there are any errors in the video, don't forget to comment it down below so I know where I went wrong and I can correct myself for the next one. We will do a tier list again, but that will be once Gen 2 comes out. So once all the creatures are in there, we'll do a similar kind of a tier list, but I will not add the test videos. But if you do want the test videos, do comment it down below so I can keep that in mind, because this is just an experimental video, my first time making a tier list. So let me know if you just want the tier list, or if you want the test video and then the tier list, so that way I can proceed. But that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it informational, and don't forget to smash the like button, as it always helps with the algorithm. Subscribe and share around, as that always supports me. With that, I'll Survive signing off, and I'll see you on the next one. Till then, peace out.